Wayne, are you there?
Yeah, I've just been messing around with this. I've had this idea of what happens if you put different materials in a strong magnetic field, and then also apply a high voltage or a strong electric field between it. And so, talking about theories, I mean, it kind of, in my mind, it kind of is something like possibly like dynamic nuclear orientation, but so you got the so the magnetic field helps polarize the orbital electrons, which also help to polarize the nuclei. So here I've got some bismuth powder and some other ferromagnetic powder. I don't know what it is exactly, but I just got a bunch of different chemicals here, and they all have elements that like sodium, so their spin, copper sulfate, just some things I had around here. And then here I've got, and here's vegetable oil, bismuth, and I think it's just bismuth. Yeah. So I was messing around with this digital scale. Every time I turned on the high voltage, this would change, but I think it's just the way this interacts with the scale, the load cell in there. So I just put it on this mechanical scale here. So it's, yeah, just if I could see that move. This is a volt multiplier here. It's coming out of this transformer here that Nan gave me. I'm not sure what the output is here. I think it's probably about 10 kilovolts. So that's like, I think that's these stages. If I go any higher, it just arcs over through here. So magnetic field in there is about 2,000 Gauss. So I don't know. Probably nothing will happen. I'm just going to turn the power on, and probably you guys can't see anything. I don't want to get my phone too close to that because that's like a lot of high voltage there. Yeah, I don't see anything moving there.
Fail forward research. Tell us about the choice of the name.
Well, I started my YouTube channel. I just started putting videos up about 6 years ago. And at that time, I was kind of dabbling in a number of different things, like what you might call free energy. Just trying to make over unity electric generators and that kind of thing. At that time, I had done some experiments with T.T. Brown stuff, charging up. I made some discs that I attached to a TV screen, or not a TV screen, a TV flyback transformer. And I actually saw some movement and stuff like that. And I talked to Jeremiah about it. And he was pretty excited. But I did that like 9 years ago. But then I kind of dabbled with it for a while there, and then I left it for years. But I guess about a year ago, I started I had a lot of questions around the anti-gravity side of things, and I really wanted to just get to the bottom of it. And I knew that I would have to do a lot of experiments, and because there's so much conflicting information out there online and stuff. So
Really is the holy grail of science and the holy grail of, the whole UFO mystery, that it's just covered in bullshit. There's so much disinformation out there. dead ends that you can try to discourage people from this. And it's people like you, fail forward research, that every time you fail, it's yes, I failed. We're going to fail forward. Newton didn't discover.
Yeah. So
before he discovered a light bulb, he discovered 1,000 ways how not to make a light bulb.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't.
Exactly.
I wouldn't feel negative at all. God knows how many experiments have I built. Bill, you're probably in the same boat, right? How many experiments have all of us built that just didn't do anything at all? I mean, and it could be worse. At least you can get a big shock from it. I've had that happen.
I've never had that happen. Yeah.
Give it time. It'll happen.
Oh, shut up.
I've been shocked a few times. One of these just put together recently, I got a Zap. Yeah, that lit me up. So, I changed the name of my channel, Fail Forward Research. I had this concept of, you just gotta, like in business or whatever, you gotta embrace failure and you gotta try things because it's not all figured out. It's not all laid out for you. So I had all these questions around all these experiments I just felt like I need to do around Townsend Brown type of his findings and those patents.
Well, if I could elaborate on that also in terms of experimental stuff, one of the things that makes experiments so important, and I've seen this, like you go to a conference, right? And they'll put they put the graphs and they say, okay, well, this or that isn't above the noise. The thing is, there are secrets hiding in the noise. Whenever they do one of these experiments that you read about in the papers, they're testing for one specific thing, but there's all sorts of other stuff that oftentimes they notice or see. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but it might make sense to somebody else. And I've seen that so many times where you're reading through a paper and they'll say, well, we also saw this. Oh, okay. But that was outside of our experimental parameters. We don't know what was going on. We're not going to deal with it. We don't have money for it. And so Wayne, with what you're doing, you see all of those things and you're in a frame of mind where you can say, hey, this might matter.
Yeah, I can testify to Wayne seeing that he's replicated a lot of the same experiments that I've done. Not replicated my personal experiments, but more so we both replicated the same older experiments independently of each other. And he's noticed and pointed out phenomena in his observations that I've seen, but never really paid a lot of attention to. And one of those interesting things is you have two charged objects. One is originally a neutral object, and another one is an object that you're adding charge to. Both of these objects are, fairly soft surfaced, so they don't have ionization points. And what ends up happening is if you charge one of the charged objects very quickly so that it acquires a charge, an electric field is built up between itself and the second object. If you then suddenly discharge the charged object, even though the second object received or gave no quantity of electrons other than what it originally started with, so it's still in a system of balance, it appears to experience a simultaneous impulse repulsion force upon the impulse discharge of the charged object. And it's one of those strange phenomena that we both notice, but I've always kind of figured it could be explainable in much simpler terms, but then to investigate it, when we started to look at it and try to intentionally create these effects and amplify them, we noticed other strange phenomena. So Wayne is the first one in the research group to point that out. And I could definitely validate, yeah, you're right about that. He does see the possibilities of these things that most of us ignore.
And it was almost like too difficult to see. Like it was
it's fast. It's an instantaneous event. Like it's there and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's really hard to observe.
Yeah, but I captured some of it in one of my videos, like in slow motion. I could see that, that lead mass it moved a little more than I thought it should have. So
yeah, and it's the same thing in the spherical video that we shared too amongst the group, and those things moved too. The spheres moved as well. It doesn't seem to be material specific. It works on paper as well as you verified in an earlier experiment. It works on dielectrics as well as conductors.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, so, these are all things that just underline why this group, what we're doing right here, is so important. Just being able to share our observations from the lab directly with other people who are in the lab basically makes the entire planet a lab. So if any of you know anyone else who's actually working on these experiments or couldn't be, cajoled to start experimenting again, I think we could really make a major breakthrough in this field. And I totally disagree with the mainstream view that, anti-gravity is 100 years or 1,000 years away. I think it's past technology that was unique applications of past technology that were just misunderstood. It's those little things that, Wayne observed, or, something that Tesla observed that really point out the most important factors that we all missed. And everyone's, in their own little boat. They're working on the basics, but it's very hard to find an EPR specialist for some reason. And like I said, that chart of the different electron spins around different atoms, where can I find something like that? Maybe that has really some connection to dynamic nuclear orientation and anti-gravity. I believe this stuff has been covered up, and one of the reasons it was covered up is because it was too simple. It was like an atom bomb that anyone can build. Not really an atom bomb, it's a movement device. But getting back to power of attraction, right after I tried that experiment with this vacuum tube, I realized that the tube was only putting out 4 watts. And I was thinking to myself, maybe it's not about the high voltage, maybe it's about the total amount of joules that are being transferred, the total amount of energy going from one point to another that creates this effect. So I was like, okay, what's the most powerful fast tube I can find? And this is what I got off of eBay. It is the CX1538. There's actually papers written on this tube. We got 2 of them. They were like $75 each. This is out of the Berkeley Labs Linear Accelerator, which actually discovered berkelium and americium, elements 97 and 98. So it is a very fast, high voltage, high current tube, capable of 186 megawatt impulses that I plan on trying with the impulse experiment. And as Bill mentioned earlier, it or made me think it might be interesting to stick magnets on that receiving capacitor and see if the effect is amplified. So having these conversations really pushes anti-gravity or alternative propulsion forward. And I'm very glad we're here. Jeremiah, do you have anything to show us? He's got an amazing lab.
I set it up earlier, and then I ran the impulse thing, and 160 kV is supposed to be the clipping point on that system. I have it limited to 100 kV, but every so often, a weird ion channel does something strange, and it's an open system right now, so it's not insulated. It's not encased. Well, it's in prototype stage. Anyways, we had a 168 kV arc reach over the system and grab onto the output negative terminal of the power transformer and completely fry its multiplier out. So unfortunately, that system just went down earlier, and that was the experiment that I had set up on the bench. So I won't be showing that. At this moment, I'm unwinding the original primary of that transformer so I can replace it with another one from stock. This is just rather unfortunate, but it is what it is. Experiment.
This is the this is the nature of experimentation. You also have that other device, the one that has like a weird surface effect that can attract objects.
Yeah, I do have that. What I need to do is actually get Zoom on my phone. I'm not set up to do that right now. It turns out I tried to test it earlier, but I got on the call, and it's been a pretty busy night until then. As you already know, I was on another call earlier too. So I will get that set up, and we'll do another conference call, and we'll get some experiments shown so I can demonstrate a few of the weird phenomena that we've seen just for the sheer curiosity and exploration of the participants in the call. And they can take away from it what they will and make their own assumptions about it. But we'll share that. I'm just not set up for it tonight, unfortunately. But yeah, good stuff down the line for sure. We're going to definitely have some good things to share.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really about the knowledge that we're sharing. That's where the
Yeah, the power is in the people here. This is really where the key is. You have different ideas here, and many of them disagree with each other, but a very wide range of fields and some very brilliant perspectives and different approaches. And it's the places where we can kind of align our efforts and agree on things that we can work together and move forward with some of our efforts. And I think pretty much for the most part, I would say we all kind of share the same goal. I mean, how many of us were promised flying cars or, dreamed about space colonies or dreamed about the future and the fantastic place that it would be. But now here we are, in 2020, and we're looking at it, and it's sort of a train wreck. And I think that we all want better for ourselves, for our families, and for our species. And unfortunately, it's not been given to us. And if we consider that whether conspiracy or not, it's already out there or it's never been discovered, the fact is that here we have a group that, even if it hasn't been done, maybe together we can actually do it. And that to me is more important than anything.
Amen. Amen to that.